with Avowed and the director an exclusive interview. And by exclusive, we mean it's not actually exclusive at all. This person, Booty Adams, is interviewing Carrie Patel, and it's one of many interviews that are available right now online. But since I do support hashtag BLM, not really, we are going to showcase Booty Adams stream because I think it's going to be funnier. I think we're going to see a level of shillery that we haven't seen in quite some time. So like the stream, ladies and gentlemen, to the best of your ability, or dislike it. Although there's only 8 of you that disliked it so far, which I appreciate the 8 of you. Thank you so much. But I also appreciate the rest of you, the almost 500 of you that have liked it. Let's get into the content and let's see what this particular interview has to say. Oh wait, but before we do that. It's only right, since we are going to react to his video, it's only right.
Good moo! Oh, you found your moo! Moo! Good job! Where'd that come from? Moo! Oh, wow.
Since the entire chat is mooing right now. The entire fucking chat is literally mooing right now. This is amazing. All right, let's get into it.
What's good, everybody? We are here with someone I have been dying to talk to about a game that I have been checking out and reviewing. Please, please, please give your love and support to Carrie Patel, game director of Avowed. Carrie, first of all, so good to see you. It's been forever. We haven't seen each other since Outer Worlds.
Yeah, it's great to be back. Great to talk to you.
Good to see you. I've been watching all of your interviews with bated breath and sitting there and being like, I want my turn to talk to Carrie and talk about all the goodness that I'm getting a chance to check out. And
today's our day.
To see this, the universe has done what it's supposed to do. It has gotten us together to talk about a game that I'm very, very excited for. And a game that you are currently working on and ready to ship and ready to get out into the world, which is
whoa. Keywords. Keywords, ladies and gentlemen. Ready to ship. Ready to ship. How are you going to say yes, bro? Ready to ship. This is what he's telling his fans. That she's about to release, a game that's ready to ship. And you guys already know in our previous coverage that the game is going to be released broken. So this is what shilling is, right? This is what shilling is. When you're not honest with your fan base, and you're telling them, yeah, I can't wait for this game. I've been dying to review this game. And you're not telling your fans that this ready-to-ship game is going to be broken day one? At least not yet. Anyway, obviously, it's a little early into the interview. Let's see if he does actually call it out. I just highly doubt it, but let's see.
Really, really cool. How are you feeling about, things are almost ready? Like we're almost at time.
I'm thrilled. I mean, there's always a bit of anxiety, a bit of nervousness. You're worried about where's that one crash that nobody's found yet that everybody's going to see when we release. But in all honesty, we've been playing the game a ton, and even internally, like the coolest thing is to hear from the team that has been working on this game. I love my build. I'm having so much fun in combat. I'm finding things that are new to me in regions I have worked on, and I am so invested in the end state I'm getting to at the end of the game. Like, if the team that's worked on it is having fun, if this game can still be fresh to those of us who have spent years with it, I am so stoked to get it into players' hands.
Yeah, I think that's one of the beautiful parts about game development, right?
Of course she's stoked to get into players' hands because she's hoping that nothing breaks in the first 2 hours. That's basically it. She's hoping people are stupid enough to buy this game day one after admitting it's going to be broken and then not refund it.
It is almost like birthing a child. It's like giving that moment to the world where you're like, all right, here's the thing that we have all put all of our love and good vibes into, and now you get to go to kindergarten. Here you go.
Yeah, have fun, make some new friends.
Yeah, go play in the sand table and go hang out and go do fun things.
Fun things. Maybe Gunnergate should investigate this guy. They seem pretty good at catching kid stuff.
For folks who are who may not be familiar with the game in the fullest ways. I know marketing has been ramping up, and that's been crazy. The wild billboard that I saw in Times Square the other day, which was nuts and super cool to be able to see. And now it's starting to get the marketing machine is starting to roll out and get those things together. For folks who have been living under a rock,
this is painful to watch. I'm sorry, Belcoot. Stick with me, man. Stick with me. I guarantee you there's going to be good stuff in this. At least it'll be funny. Stick with me.
And have not seen the goodness of the game. Talk to me a little bit about, you know, what this game is trying to evoke. What's the kind of main thrust and pillars for what this game is trying to be, and what is it kind of giving to players?
So the high line is Avowed is a first-person fantasy action RPG set in a wild and mysterious and magical land. Avowed is also a game that follows.
Yeah, it's going to be real magical when you fall through the world, for sure.
In the tradition of Obsidian RPGs, which to those of us at the studio, it really means that we place a huge emphasis on player choice. That means player choice in how you define and progress your character, player choice in how you role play moment to moment in dialogue with other characters, in how you choose to resolve quests, in the big meaty decisions and the little flavorful.
Hey, yo, the big meaty decisions. The big meaty decisions? Is she talking about me? I mean, I was called Granddaddy Boppo. Not Boppo, Jesus. Granddaddy Boppy. I was called that. I was called the bigger one. The bigger one. I'm just saying. Remember, guys, meaty decisions. And let's see if you could actually make that meaty decision while you're falling through the world.
Character defining decisions that you're making across the game. We really want to create an immersive and explorable experience for players, a world that engages the player's curiosity and then rewards that extra effort.
Don't be too curious, though, because if you go inside of a cave, you might fall to the abyss.
And something where players have a really personal journey through the game. I think one of the coolest things about RPGs is because so much of your experience is based on how you choose to play, what kind of character you choose to build, what your moment-to-moment choices are, is that play experience feels so personal and so specific.
I mean, one of the beautiful parts of getting a chance to kind of dig into the world and you know, Obsidian games as a whole is that understanding of that world building and the RPG elements and how it's been a part of the pedigree of the studio to continue to, you know, embark on these large journeys and these adventures and have the player.
Shit, I remember when I opened the door. I opened the door in Fallout New Vegas and I fell through the fucking world. And then the characters started like doing the whole bounce up and down thing when they're kind of floating in midair. And I can look up above me and see the fucking door. Is it hilarious? Sure, but it's fucking frustrating. It's frustrating, man. And we are in 2025. We should be past this. We should be past this. And we're not. You want to know why? Because people like this are trying to lie to gamers and tell them that everything is A-okay with this video game. That's just the truth of it. That's just the truth of it. We have people like this that are telling everybody that everything is fine. Be excited for this game. Don't worry. It's frustrating, man.
Or be at the front of that experience. You know, what have been some of the biggest kind of learnings that you and the team have had across all these multiple games over multiple years that are kind of coming to the forefront in Avowed?
Man, where to begin? I think one lesson that has been true on every project I've worked on is that you have to constantly be ready to iterate and ready to...
Exactly, Mad Master Porky. What, you want your games to function when you buy them? What's wrong with you? I know. I must be insane.
To evaluate and honestly assess the progress of your own work. You know, game development is so multidisciplinary. You know, you start with ideas that turn into paper designs, that turn into rough blockouts, that then eventually have all the fun things like combat and explorable spaces and dialogue. And you gradually layer in all these levels of detail that make the experience, but you have to be ready at each stage to evaluate what you've done and really ask the question, okay, is this working? Is this still working? Is there something that would make this work better? Because I think the worst thing is to get so overly committed to an idea on paper that you can't be flexible.
Ice Kurt actually has a good comment. He says, I blame Game Pass. They release it broken because you don't buy it, you rent it, and they treat it as a live service to fix it later. Yeah, 100%. You're 100% right. I do agree with that. Subscription services have created this mindset that they're trying to get you used to, which is like Ubisoft, right? They said where you need to be used to not owning your games. I agree 100,000%. That is exactly what's happening.
Can't bring out the best of it when you actually get to a game environment, when you're bringing in the talents of your colleagues and other disciplines, and when you're just looking at what it feels like to not just play this quest, but encounter this quest in a larger level, encounter this quest, on your journey through the crit path.
Yeah, I think one of the things that
does anybody else find it interesting that the gaming industry is one of the few industries where you can actually sell products that do not work as advertised, and there's so many loopholes out there to protect them from lawsuits? It's one of the only industries, right? If you sell cars that do not work, you could get fucking sued, right? Obviously, there's recalls, and there's cars that have been experiencing massive recalls. But if the recalls are big enough, there is still class action lawsuits. And sure, you could recall the car, but that's not going to save you from a fucking lawsuit half of the time. But the gaming industry is one of the industries where you can release broken shit that don't work on day one, and everybody's just like, it's okay. It's a gaming industry. It just doesn't make any fucking sense.
Remember very fondly while playing Outer Worlds has been, just being able to feel like player agency is at the kind of.
Oh yeah, I apologize, guys. You're right. There's one other industry that can, and that's the pharmaceutical. That's the pharmaceutical industry. They can fuck up your entire life, and it's whatever. But you know what? That's not necessarily true, because there's also a lot of settlements in the pharmaceutical industry. The only difference is that industry has so many disgusting amount of money that they actually budget for lawsuits. Do you guys know that most hospitals have budgets for lawsuits? Like, they set money aside in their budgets per year for lawsuit payouts. Do you guys know that? Isn't that fucking insane? Like, they don't even bother going to trial 95% of the time. They just rather put money into the side and pay off somebody for a couple $1 million and tell them to go fuck off. And then that person signs an agreement that they won't sue, and then they just move on with their lives. It's insanity. It is insanity. So it's smart. Don't get me wrong. It's smart, but it's insane too at the same time.
Main goal for what that game is. Like, of course, like you said, there's a kind of a golden path to get to what you would think of as like the end of that story and journey. But what has been so cool to be able to see throughout the lineage of Obsidian has been like, you can really like go and see the thing and then go do the thing in an actual way. Talk to me a little bit about, what is it like to
keep liking the stream, boys.
Design for things like that, because it's also a mix of, the things that you want players to see, that you're like, we want to lean you towards those things, but then there's always going to be things that you miss as a player unless you were like a super completionist and you're like digging into every corner. Talk to me a little bit about the way you design for that, because that's been mind-blowing to me how much stuff is there.
You know what I don't like? I don't like when interviewers use unbelievably vague questions because they really don't know what to ask. I can't stand that. So when somebody says, when you could do the thing and then you go to the thing and it's really cool. Yeah. So tell me more about that. What the fuck does that mean, bro? What do you mean when you go to the thing and you do the thing? What the fuck does that mean? Can we speak a little bit more specific? Can we not speak so vague that it makes us look retarded, as if you don't actually play video games? Can we do that? Can we do that? Is it possible to speak? You know why it's not? Because he probably doesn't play video games very much. Let's be honest. And if he does, it's not exactly these type of games, probably. It's fucking insane. You know the thing? When you go to the thing and you do the thing? Bro, what the fuck? What the fuck is that? I just laugh, bro. I laugh.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about something, which is that with a game like this, you really have to embrace the idea of missable content. You have to understand both that some players are going to want certain parts of your experience more than others, and that means that your combat-focused players may not have all the deep conversations with companions that you have, painstakingly written and VO'd. And it means that, some of the more dialogue and story-focused characters may not scour the map to find, some of the really good bounty combats that we've done, like the basically mini-boss style combats that are super fun, but some players will miss them. But what that means is it means that you can design and develop those pieces of content for the players who will opt into them, and give those people the best possible experiences with them. Whenever we're looking at something like, whether it's on the scale of the entire game and understanding the player's critical path through the game, or of an individual quest, we always have to think of things in terms of basically gold, silver, and bronze tier information. And you want to be as sparing as possible, I think, with what you really put in that gold tier, because that's the stuff that you're saying, okay, even the player who is speeding through dialogue, kind of just getting from one combat to the next, this is the thing that they really have to understand. It tells them where to go. It tells them what to do. It just kind of helps them understand what's happening. But you want to be as sparing with that as possible, because what makes roleplay interesting, what makes dialogue roleplay interesting, is letting players choose to opt into this additional context, letting players feel like they have discovered something by asking the right questions, finding the right nugget in the world. So you understand what's absolutely critical, you make sure that is unmissable, and you probably reinforce it a few times. You understand the things that are not critical, but pretty important to most players who are engaging with the game. And you don't...
Just Me said, damn, that boy's thick. Stir Spamalot says, what is she saying? I don't know, bro. She's speaking vague as well. This is unbelievably vague on both sides. He's asking vague questions. She's giving vague answers. And it's insane. It's 8 minutes of vague nonsense.
Don't make that required information, but you make sure that it is available and visible and likely in many places. Again, with RPGs, you don't always know what order players are going to encounter information in, what else might be distracting them when they come across it. And so it's important to reinforce anything that you really want to get across to the player. But honestly, some of my favorite parts of the game are really impactful, really important pieces of content that we have not put on the crit path. There is one in particular that I can't be too specific about that is discoverable, that has immense implications for the outcome of the region you're in, and even for your some of your story options later in the game. But there is no crit path quest that will take you to it. There's no side quest that will actually take you to it. There are a number of hints and references you can find in the world to suggest that this might be something to look for. And if you're thoroughly exploring the map, yeah, you may find it, but it's really there to be discovered by players.
So basically Skyrim, somewhat. Like a Skyrim somewhat, essentially. Is that what we're talking about? Which is exactly what you're trying to aim for anyway. I mean, I don't know why we're speaking as if it's something that is brand new, never discovered before. Shout out to Veridark. Thank you, Veridark, for the raid. Hey, Mommy Veridark is here. Mommy Veridark is here, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Look at this. The mother of all the hypnotic children in the chat. According to them, anyway. I didn't say it. They said it. They said it. Shout out to Veridark. Thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate you. We got some nonsense we're watching, boys. We got some absolute nonsense. So if you want to see chivalry at the maximum level and make fun of it, then keep watching. Keep watching. It's a good time.
And I think that will make it that much more rewarding and interesting for players who find it, even knowing that it means some people are going to miss it.
Now you've ruined me, because as I review this now I'm like, was that a thing? Is that a thing?
Yeah, you'll find out.
But that's great.
What is with this fucking, oh my God, bro. Yeah, you know the thing. Is that a thing? Yeah, that thing over there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally playing this game. Yeah, I could talk so specific about it. Yeah, so let's talk about the thing. You know, that thing? Yeah, that other thing. Exactly, that thing. Oh my God, dude. I cannot. He is so obviously not playing this game. He is so obviously not playing this game, bro. He's not playing this game. If you're playing a game, you're never going to describe it as, oh, yeah, the thing, that thing. Well, we could do the thing. Remember the thing? Yeah, we did that thing. Bro, what?
Like, I love games where I don't fully get the experience laid out to me, right? Like for games like this, especially, and this is something that I remember in previews a ton, you know, when we got a chance to preview the game late last year.
Bro, imagine talking about one of your favorite games. I don't know, talk about fucking, I don't know, like Mega Man. And you were like, yeah, remember when we played the guy who did the thing and shot the thing out of his hand and the enemies exploded and then you were able to get the thing and be able to upgrade your character with the thing. Remember that? What the fuck? Like, bro, you clearly didn't play the game, bro.
Here, there were elements of mystery in there. Of course, we had, when you get set up for previews and stuff like that for folks at home, like most of those things are very curated experiences. They like pluck you in and drop you into a very couple of specific parts of the game. You're probably a little bit over leveled for those moments because they kind of give you the stuff to kind of let you see how things work. But being able to have an understanding now that I'm checking out the game in review of what you just said, of like, some of these things are not necessarily bad to be missed, but they do add flavor to the overall experience, is really fantastic. And that kind of brings me to something that I've been thinking about and wanted to ask you, because I think you all are masters at this, is the world building aspects of how do you balance, and would love to hear your thoughts about the function of world building, which I kind of think of as like building those areas, those biomes, those places where you can be, that have their, specific kinds of, look and feel and all that, alongside how you build lore that comes into those small spaces of like, oh, there's a written note here, or a character you might meet in the wild, or, a specific quest that you might get into there. How do you kind of combine those two things to make them feel cohesive? Because you're always in some space, right? You're always doing something and on a way to a thing, and then something else might catch your eye to go do it. But
on your way to the thing. So how do you combine the things when you're on your way to the I can't, dude. Okay, listen, I understand. I fully understand that there's an embargo in place, most likely, and you can't be super specific. But there has been stuff that has been shown, and there's certain things that you can, in fact, say, right? So you could talk about some of the available class or class systems that are in the game. You could talk about the combat, whether or not that's melee or magic or whatever. Those things have been shown. You're being so unbelievably vague with the thing and the that thing and the over thing and over there, and it's so ridiculous, bro. Just you're talking as if you're talking as somebody who's never actually played the game, and somebody who's desperately trying to just have word vomit and word salad to try to get this interview moving forward. Because as long as she answers what she's going to answer, you don't really have to do much. You already know, because whatever she says and she wants to admit to, then let her admit to and let her say it. You just got to move it along. That's basically the thing, right? That's what the thing really is.
But it also just adds to the overall feel of the space. How do you dovetail those things so well?
So that comes back to,
what's funny? Just really quick before we continue, 12 minutes into this interview so far, and we said more in 15 minutes during our initial segment about Avowed than he has in 12 minutes interviewing the director. Isn't that sad? And this is because chivalry comes with a price. And this is what I tell people all the time. Chivalry comes with a price. If you are going to shill, that means you have to be overly positive. You have to be toxically positive. You have to be to the point where you cannot even remotely hint at something even somewhat negative. It's impossible. Or something even controversial. You can't do it. You have to just maintain positivity. And if you cannot, and you have only negative questions to ask because the game is mostly negative right now, then what you do is you make up bullshit to keep it moving, to get the guest engaged, and to get her talking. That's really all it is. Because once she's talking, he doesn't care. But once she stops, it's his job to move it forward. That's all it is.
To iteration. You start with guiding documents for whatever region you're developing, if it's a larger dungeon for your dungeon. And that's kind of laying out, the high level. What's the story that takes us through here? What's going on here? What does the place look and feel like? Both kind of what does the biome look like, but also what are the vibes that we want players to have here? And so you kind of start with these high level on paper ideas that will guide a lot of the specifics you develop. We had pitch processes for side quests for our region. So that's where folks on the team would kind of throw out different ideas for ways that we could, expand on the story of this region in ways outside of the crit path, explore some of the, well, if this thing is going on, what else might be happening? Or what's another consequence of that? It's just a great way to add more depth and more variety. while still creating something that feels like it's all kind of pointing back to the same big story, same big experience. So we go through that, we put the content in, and then where a lot of the really key refinement comes is just in looking at those levels moment to moment and playing through them as a team, oftentimes in seeing how playtest.
Yeah, he has her saying thing. He has her saying thing and that and things again. Oh man, it's amazing. Look at his face, bro. Look at his face, bro. This guy is like, do I really got to sit here any longer? I got to do this for like another 30 minutes. Oh man, this is great stuff, dude. This is, I'm thinking it's funny. I know you guys are probably like, fuck this guy, but I think it's funny as hell, bro. I love seeing shills work. I really do. I do. I love seeing shills work. It is extremely impressive when I see shillery happening on maximum stage right now.
Testers play through them, people outside the studio. You see what people notice, what people miss, what engages them and what confuses them. And a lot of the work that we do in those later stages is really about continuing to kind of shape and hone those levels, even the Overlands levels, in ways that guide the player's eye more effectively to points of interest without just pushing players there, creating lots of little kind of valves and kind of either or kind of, forks in the road so that players aren't just moving through a space. They're constantly making choices. Am I going to go this way or that way? Am I going to keep going to my objective, or am I going to check out this thing over here? Just something that makes that decision-making moment to moment feel engaging and feel like a natural outgrowth of their curiosity. And then some of the most fun stuff, are these little vignettes, these little bits of found storytelling, these little bits of visual storytelling, where at that point we're so deep into the development of the content, we understand what story we're trying to tell with this region or this overall experience. We understand like what the specific story of this dungeon is, and now that we have a little bit more time, we're looking at how can we refine that? How can we make this thing that looks like a discoverable nook? Ooh, people keep checking this out. Let's put something here. We've got a lot of content that's
holy shit.
Kind of telling people about the danger of the dream scourge, but what about some little moments that show how people have tried to get away from it? And so that becomes the inspiration and the fodder for
what's that?
A lot of just additional little moments that let us.
So what's that then? What is the dream scourge? Like, what is that? Why is he not asking, oh, what's that? What is the dream scourge? What's that? If she says, oh, we can't talk about that yet, then that's fine. But at least ask. At least ask, man. You just, god damn, bro. He doesn't know how to take control of the conversation. Just ask.
Fill out the world, create rewards for player exploration, and just bring everything together in a much more lifelike fashion.
Yeah, the stuff I'm seeing that I won't talk about, and things I got a chance to check out in previews, really do pull that together. Like it was a really short amount of time that we got a chance to check it out initially, but all the things you were talking about really come through in really, really like profound ways, which I thought was really, really fantastic. Were there any weird, or not weird, I shouldn't say weird, were there any interesting learnings and surprises that you got while kind of having those initial playtest sessions that you were like, oh, this is a thing that players do often that we have to control for, or we need to guide a little bit better, or we need to build a system for to kind of, help a player be more, into the world and kind of more grounded in it.
But didn't he ask this earlier when he said, what was the things that you learned while developing this game and stuff that you can utilize from previous games into this one? And she went on this whole tangent about stuff she learned throughout the development cycle and all that stuff. I mean, I guess if we're going to ask the same question and specify playtesters this time, I suppose it's the same thing, but okay.
Yeah, I think one thing we've gotten from a lot of our playtesting, both internal and external, is kind of the need to ramp players up to enemies of different tiers. So one thing that makes Avowed a little bit distinct right now is that enemies don't scale to your level. Every encounter is hand placed with, specific units of specific difficulty tiers, and those are placed and spread throughout the regions in such a way that we know where players are entering the region, we know where their crit path is going to take them, and we're kind of radiating out the difficulty so that over the course of the level, the player is encountering more challenges that are going to encourage them to upgrade their gear more, to explore more, to find upgrade materials, to do more side quests, to get experience points so they can purchase new and better abilities, all that good stuff. So, for us, it was really about kind of massaging how we create those incentives to the player. And especially in the first region of Dawnshore, making sure that we are being really clear with the player about when they need to start looking at upgrades. Without necessarily throwing them at a hard difficulty wall. We went through a lot of iterations, about exactly how difficult those enemies in that first western area are and how they ramp up as you move to your first crit path objective. If you start trying to go to the east, you'll notice that there's kind of a wave of harder encounters and those foreshadow the even harder encounters that you'll meet if you keep pushing east. So kind of spreading those out, understanding, okay, the City of Paradise is in the center. We know the choke points where players can try to get around are going to be here, here, and here. Let's also put our tutorial pop-ups there so that just before players see these tier 2 enemies with their blue tags, they know, okay, this is what I'm seeing. This is why the combat feels harder. I should maybe explore, level up, improve my gear, and come back to this when I'm better equipped for it.
I do like that as a game philosophy too.
I gotta tell you guys, my brain is about to have like an aneurysm. I'm not even lying to you. My brain is about to have an aneurysm. I have never seen an interview so fucking boring. I would almost argue that Khalif Adams is not even paying attention when she speaks. I would almost argue that he's not even paying attention because he is tuning her out. That's how it looks anyway. He is tuning her out. And every time it comes to his turn, it's time to ask a question. It's super vague. And it seems like he really wasn't paying attention very much to what she was saying before. But I'm trying to be good and get through the whole thing, but I don't I got to be honest with you. I don't think I'm going to be able to. I really don't. I really don't. So you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna catch up on super chats, man. Let's catch up on super chats, and then we might have a last topic that we might touch on. We might have a last topic that we might touch on. Let's go. Let's stop torturing you guys. Let's go over the super chats really quick. You guys lasted long enough. 18 minutes. What was that? 18 minutes and 12 seconds.